Tragedy unfolded in Florida when a father was shot and killed in his private apartment.
We also discovered that there was a torn condom wrapper, but also an unused condom close to his body.
This detail suggests the victim was killed while being intimate with a woman. From the victim's best friend's testimony, the police uncovered that he had a very complicated love life.
Latoya, the ex-girlfriend, they go through it a lot. They just back and forth, back and forth.
When the investigation reached a dead end, a taxi driver's testimony completely shifted the police's focus. It turned out that the perpetrator had revealed themselves from the beginning by casually providing related details. However, there wasn't just one perpetrator. When both were caught, they started blaming each other. So who was the mastermind behind this murder? Let's uncover the details of this gripping case together. Before we begin the story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive notifications whenever a new video is posted. This is a true case that occurred in Tallahassee, Florida, USA. On July 12, Mylon Lowe was found dead in his apartment by a family member. The person who discovered the body was his mother and a friend of the young man. Police immediately arrived at the scene after receiving the report. In her statement to the police, the mother said she became worried after failing to contact her son and decided to go to his apartment to check on him. The woman never expected to witness the horrifying scene inside.
He wasn't wearing any clothing except for a pair of boxer shorts.
There were 2 gunshot wounds that the victim had sustained, one to his right cheek and one to the top of his head.
We also discovered that there was a torn condom wrapper, but also an unused condom close to his body.
The evidence on the scene, particularly the condom, certainly suggests that Mr. Lowe was interrupted in the midst of some type of sexual encounter when he was killed.
A gun belonging to Mylon, along with his wallet, cell phone, some jewelry, and shoes, were missing. At 24, Milan Low had a promising life ahead of him. However, he had a rather complicated love life. At the beginning of 2004, he started dating Latoya Henderson. At that time, Latoya was already several months pregnant, but the baby was not Mylon's.
He jumped right into playing that role as being a dad, and he was part of the family.
He also promised to love and take good care of Latoya and her child, which deeply moved her. But just as he was settling into this new life, Mylon discovered that he had a child with his ex-girlfriend in Alabama. Facing this situation, he decided to break up with Henderson and explained that he wanted to reunite with his ex-girlfriend. According to Mylon, he couldn't abandon his biological child or leave his ex-girlfriend to raise the child on her own. Thrilled about becoming a father, he even made plans to move to Alabama permanently to be closer to his child. But Mylon never got the chance to do so, as just 2 months after learning he was a father, he was murdered. Bobby Lowe, Mylon's brother, still remembers how excited Mylon was when he found out he was going to be a dad.
He was very happy. He was very excited. He was proud, you know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't have been surprised if Mylon would have moved to Alabama to be with his child. I can see that as something that my brother would have done.
When Bobby received a call from his mother, informing him that his brother had been murdered, he couldn't fathom how such a tragedy had struck their family. After investigating the victims' relationships, police immediately began probing those connected to him. Tim, a friend of Mylon, revealed that the two had spoken on the phone at around 1 a.m. on the day of the murder.
Tim states he heard a female in the background.
A woman that was unknown to Mr. Powell.
So I was like, well, hey, man, go and do your thing, you know what I'm saying? I didn't pay no mind to it.
What time was that you talked to him?
It was at least around 1.
He didn't want to mess with her no more, and, he wanted to go forward with his life, but it didn't seem like she wanted to let him go.
She was in love with him. She couldn't take it when he let her go.
At this point, all police suspicions turned toward the pregnant woman. Bridget Andrews, Henderson's mother, was very fond of her potential son-in-law and described Mylon as an amazing young man. She was deeply grateful to Mylon for stepping up to take responsibility as a father for her daughter's unborn child, even though he knew it wasn't biologically his. However, when she learned the reason for their breakup, she strongly advised her daughter to let Mylon go so he could fulfill his responsibilities as a father to his biological child. But it seemed Henderson couldn't accept losing such a kind-hearted man. Bridget Andrews, Henderson's younger sister, revealed another shocking piece of news. Unable to win Mylon back, Henderson slashed his car with a knife in anger.
She cut him? No, she stabbed him and they blew out. And then she got in the car and we left.
This information was also confirmed as true by Mrs. Andrews. Acknowledging her daughter's anger over Mylon breaking up with her, Mrs. Andrews insisted that Henderson was definitely not the killer. Despite Mrs. Andrews' belief, Henderson immediately became a prime target in the police investigation. When Henderson learned about Mylon's murder, she was shocked and deeply saddened by the horrifying news. Henderson admitted she was furious when Mylon broke up with her, but understood he needed to be with his biological child and bore no resentment. She maintained that she was not the killer and provided an alibi for the time of Mylon's murder.
We didn't ask her any direct questions if she was involved, but she provided us with alibi information.
She indicates that she was out with friends the night that Mr. Lowe was killed.
With no evidence and no witnesses, police faced significant challenges in solving the case. Just as the investigation was hitting a dead end, a tip from a taxi driver shifted the entire direction of the case. The driver explained that after reading about the murder in the news, he immediately came forward to provide crucial information to the police.
The cabbie indicated that he, in fact, had driven a man and a woman to that very residence on the night of the murder.
You said you picked up a fare. It was a guy named D.
Yeah, previous.
Do you remember about what time you were sent?
Between, the car came between 11:45. Much longer.
With this lead, the investigation team worked to identify the caller, and the result was shocking. The person who made the call was Bridget Andrews, LaToya Henderson's younger sister. Checking the address where the taxi had picked up the pair, police found it was the home of a man named Danny Brown. Through a photo of Danny Brown provided by the police, the taxi driver confirmed that he was the man he had driven to the victim's apartment that night. Notably, Danny was Bridget Andrews' boyfriend. Police immediately went to Danny's home with a search warrant. There, they found crucial evidence, including Mylon's cell phone, shoes, and jewelry. Searching the apartment's laundry room, police discovered the victim's gun hidden in the ceiling. With sufficient evidence in hand, police proceeded to arrest Danny, who did not resist. Along with this, authorities also interrogated Bridget Andrews about her involvement in the murder.
So, how long you got today?
I was working about 3 years. We already have a engagement. I already have an engagement ring. It's already proposed to me and everything.
She was kind of matter of fact about her contact with Mylon. She wanted to buy some marijuana.
Give him any money?
Yeah, $25. I mean, that's it. He opened up the door for me, and I walked out. And that's the last time I see him, sir.
Her calm and coherent responses surprised the authorities. A police officer noted that he had met Bridget Andrews when he visited her sister to question her. At that time, Bridget had consistently acted as if she had nothing to do with the incident, and even accused her sister of being temperamental and easily upset. The police determined that Bridget was not an ordinary girl to be underestimated, so they continued to apply pressure. After several hours, the young girl began to show signs of unease, sweating profusely. Realizing they had found Bridget's weak spot, investigators began to press her more intensely. Finally, she admitted that she wanted to get back at Mylon for daring to break up with her sister. However, police believed this was not the primary motive for her and her boyfriend's actions. Clearly, the two had premeditated Mylon's murder. Investigators concluded there were two motives behind the crime. On one hand, Bridget wanted to teach Mylon a lesson for disrespecting her sister.
Lowe had that dog with my sister. Every time he get mad at my sister, he's standing out on calling them bitches and whores. So I was like, it'd be good if somebody beat his ass up. And I know D way bigger than him, so I know he can beat him up probably.
On the other hand, she knew Mylon's apartment contained money and valuable possessions, which led to the intent to rob him.
She approached Danny and said, "Hey, I got an idea how we can make some money."
According to their plan, Udreka would seduce Mylon to lower his guard. Then, Danny would quickly enter the apartment, assault Mylon, and steal his belongings. However, the plan didn't go as intended when Danny arrived with a gun in hand.
When he came in the room, like, he scared me because he came in there with a gun. Like, what the fuck is he doing? Supposed to be jumping overboard by him.
But she never expected her boyfriend to shoot Mylon, killing him on the spot.
I was just scared. I ain't never seen nobody get killed before. I was just sitting there just stuck. He was like, hey, get up. We gotta go.
Afterward, the couple took Mylon's shoes, money, and gun, then quickly fled, pretending as if nothing had happened.
They found his wallet. They basically killed a man for $50.
Udreka's cunningness left authorities chilled. Clearly, after committing the crime, she fully understood she was the perpetrator, but continued to act as if nothing had happened. Udreka even confidently joined her mother in answering police interrogations when her sister was under suspicion. However, Danny's statement completely contradicted his girlfriend's, leaving police unsure whom to believe.
It wasn't my idea, man. Okay. Whose idea was it? It was Bridget's idea.
Danny also stated that he shot Mylon in self-defense during a scuffle, after the victim tried to grab the gun from him. Faced with conflicting testimonies from the couple, police turned to the forensic report to clarify the matter. The forensic report revealed that the victim was executed style murdered, rather than being shot in self-defense as Danny claimed. Furthermore, evidence showed that the perpetrator had pinned the victim down before pulling the trigger. Based on this detail, police concluded that Danny had intended to kill Mylon from the start, which is why he brought the gun. According to investigators, Danny followed his girlfriend's orders to murder the victim when she requested it. Considering the clear motive, Udreka had a strong reason to target her sister's ex-fiancé.
That Udreka admitted to being a part of the murder. And it's just like everything just went blank. Like, what? What do you mean?
She couldn't fathom how her eldest daughter's breakup could affect Udreka so deeply. Mylon did nothing wrong in the breakup, but unfortunately, Udreka didn't understand this. The heartbroken mother said, Mrs. Andrews added that if she had known her daughter harbored such resentment, she would have done everything to counsel her and prevent this tragedy. Henderson also expressed regret, saying that her love life caused her younger sister to attack the man she loved. The murder of Mylon Lowe stirred public outrage due to the conflicting testimonies of the two main suspects. Both repeatedly gave contradictory statements, blaming each other and refusing to take responsibility. This case garnered significant attention online, leading to numerous theories and debates about who was truly the mastermind behind Lowe's murder. Meanwhile, the police leaned toward the theory that Udreka was the one who orchestrated the crime. Many agreed with the police, believing that the clearest motive for Bridget Andrews to target Lowe was her anger over him abandoning her sister. She was also the one who planned to seduce her sister's ex-fiancé as an act of revenge while seizing the opportunity to steal his possessions. For someone as impulsive and hot-tempered as Andrews, Mylon's decision to leave her sister to reunite with his ex-girlfriend was simply unacceptable. While Mylon's choice to return to his ex-girlfriend to fulfill his responsibilities as a father was entirely understandable, many online even praised his actions. It's also worth noting that Udreka's sister was pregnant by another man, yet Mylon, out of love and care for the child, accepted the role of father. However, when he discovered he had a biological child with his ex-girlfriend, being a decent man, Mylon couldn't neglect his own child. Some criticized Henderson, pointing out that while she clearly understood the reason for Mylon's decision to leave, she still expressed anger and resentment toward him. This resentment, they argued, might have fueled her sister's deadly plan for revenge. Some netizens suggested that Udreka may have only intended to teach her sister's ex-fiancé a lesson, not kill him. However, everything spiraled out of control when Danny Brown showed up with a gun in hand. Due to her boyfriend's impulsiveness, the situation escalated beyond their control, turning into a murder. Messages between Andrews and her sister revealed that she was furious about how Mylon had left her sister. She even declared that she would make Mylon regret what he had done to her sister. While Udreka's motive seemed clear, a portion of netizens leaned toward the theory that Danny Brown was the one who truly planned to kill Mylon. Some speculated that Danny exploited his girlfriend's anger to execute his own agenda. According to this theory, Danny knew that Udreka's rage could serve as a cover for his actions, diverting suspicion away from him and onto her instead. Witnesses provided a critical detail. Danny was the only one carrying a gun on the night of the crime. This led to speculation that he had premeditated the murder of Mylon. Danny's act of shooting was deemed a cold and calculated decision, not a spur-of-the-moment reaction, but rather part of a pre-planned scheme. Others suggested it was possible that both were involved in the plan, but the question of who played the dominant role remained unanswered. Perhaps Udreka intended only to scare her sister's ex-boyfriend, but Danny escalated the situation by choosing to fire the gun. Netizens pointed out inconsistencies in their testimonies. Udreka accused her boyfriend of acting completely against her wishes. Meanwhile, Danny insisted that it was Udreka who instigated and orchestrated the plan. This raised suspicion that one of them was trying to shift the blame to the other to avoid punishment. This detail demonstrated that, when faced with trial and the possibility of a lengthy sentence, the couple's love for each other meant nothing. Although Udreka was only 17 at the time of the crime, she was tried as an adult in January 2007. Both Udreka and Danny were charged with first-degree murder and armed robbery. During the trial, they continued to blame each other. Alongside claiming self-defense, Danny's lawyer maintained that the entire plan was orchestrated by Udreka. Meanwhile, Udreka's family chose to believe her, asserting that Danny was the true mastermind. A jury convicted both of all charges, sentencing them to life in prison without the possibility of parole. However, in 2019, Florida changed its laws regarding juvenile offenders. A judge sentenced Udreka to 45 years in prison, making her eligible for release in 2046 at the age of 58. Ulysses Andrews, Udreka's father, felt heartbroken and could not believe his daughter had done something so foolish and reckless.
It really hurt me because I couldn't believe my child did something as stupid as that.
I lost my sister. I lost my man. I'm just kind of like broken.
Despite her sister's wrongdoing, Henderson still hoped Udreka would get another chance to rebuild her life. Milan Lowe's family attended the trial and were deeply heartbroken as they listened to the two perpetrators recount the events of the night of the murder. Milan's brother expressed his grief for his kind-hearted sibling, adding that while Udreka could rebuild her life at 45, Milan could never come back. The Lowe family declared they would never forgive Udreka and Danny for taking Milan's life. The case of the girl and her boyfriend plotting to seduce and murder her sister's ex-fiancé as revenge has now come to a close. Do you think the sentences for the two perpetrators in this case were justified? Share your thoughts, feelings, and opinions about this case in the comments section below the video. This video concludes here. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. This will help us continue to bring you meaningful content. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next videos.